Oh, hello guys, and good morning. 6:43. Takes me like an hour to wake up sometimes. I wake up, I just start going through my school. Oh man. Woke up, I got two new members in like immediately after I posted my daily accountability last night. So, that's nice. It's happening faster and faster. It used to take me like 100 comments on average to get two new members. And so if we include it with yesterday's numbers, I got 5 members yesterday. That's pretty great, but we're not going to include it with yesterday. We're going to include it for today. On average, I would get about one new member join my group for about 50 comments that I left. And of those comments, you should really try to make it personal, and you should only comment if it's actually inspiring. Since I've been tracking all my stats, it's really only like 10% of posts that I actually will comment on. Like, most people are not tracking, but I'm just tracking how many posts do I even look at and read, because I'm curious. I'm just curious, because that's the only thing you can do. Look at all the posts, and maybe I'll click comment, maybe I read it, and no comment, maybe just like, So what actually gets me to comment on a post? And then we had 3 new members post an intro in my group, which I love that. I pinned it. That's what you want to have, that's what you want to start doing, pinning other people's content. That's kind of a Goosify strat, and Ro is really good at that. Oh my God. A little tired, but it's all right. Yes? Hello. Hello, monkey. Hello. This is Minnie the monkey, the most viral cat on the internet. What do you think you're doing? Oh, really? What do I smell like? Oh, really? 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 With your little mittens? Really? Really, monkey? She is very cute. But very noisy. Very noisy. So, I'm just making like longer vlogs. I don't know. Maybe someone will watch it. I know that it's important for me to make kind of like introductory marketing videos for like someone who's new to like business and school and basically internet marketing, digital marketing. So I'll probably try to redo a couple of videos that I have in my about page. Those videos I made because someone told me, someone kind of challenged me to say, I made a post on like processing school posts is the inventory. That's a weird word for me to use, processing. But that's the word, I'm processing it. Like, if you work in a warehouse and you just process fucking boxes and scan boxes, or, I had a moving business, you process deliveries, process boxes, process items. I sold gym equipment, process, merchandise. Or when I was in sales, process the lead. Process means I connect to it, and then I decide, do I even want to comment on this or not? I form an opinion, and then I make a decision. That's what process means to me. It probably is a weird word to use, but I'm processing the post, man. The inventory, guys, for your business on Skool is you form new relationships based on inspiration and a feeling of connection. That's the energy that it's supposed to be. But a lot of like salespeople, they'll sell to anybody, right? They're just trying to get money. There's a little bit of a difference, like the way that most of these kind of rockets and like people who are making money on Skool, a lot of them have had really big Facebook groups and they just kind of migrated to Skool. But I've been following and digging through a few of them. Like rockets make more than 10,000 a month, but less than 30,000 a month. So that's pretty great. There's only about 300 or 400 rockets, by the way, on all of Skool. So there's not a whole lot. It's still relatively young of a platform, is what I'm saying. But they kind of teach like cold strategies because cold is faster than community. But I think community is actually better than cold. Community means you get them into your group and you nurture them in your group, and then they may become a lead. They may not become a lead. They may just become a friend, or they just may hang out in the group. You're not pressuring them to become a lead. You're warming a relationship. That's how it goes from a cold person, a total stranger, to a warmer person, more friendly, or maybe a very hot person, much more friendly. Maybe you even go meet up with them IRL, So what Goose does, making friends in real life, IRL events, yeah, when it's just a stranger on the internet, but then when you actually meet them and make content, take pictures together, then it becomes like way more warm and hot, And it can be warm and hot without meeting somebody, but after you do like video calls or get to know each other, or I like to use the app Voxer. You can leave voice clips. If Skool had a way of doing voice clips, that would be great. And then if Skool had a way of doing a group message, that would be great. But they don't have that yet. I would like them to implement that. Like group text, multiple people in a text. Um, yeah, but anyways, so if you want to line up, say 3 to 6 calls a day, honestly, 1 to 3 calls a day would be a very fantastic first goal to have. In the beginning, you're just doing like friendship networking. I call them collab calls. It's not a sales pitch. It's just getting to know people in the group. So if anyone wants to do some collab calls, I'm always down. 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Chit chat, get to know each other. If you feel like you're very friendly from the collab call or just from DMs and like chatting a bunch, then you may want to do a more professional call, which is like a mastermind call. A mastermind call is still not exactly a sales call. Mastermind call means we're both really running hard and we're really building the business, and you can benefit just from being around productive and motivated people who are taking a lot of action. You know, I would mastermind with people who are like really working hard and like putting in full-time effort. I'll mastermind with you. Mastermind means we share resources and information. Like you might like this person, you might like this group. I've been getting a lot of action in this group. These kinds of posts are doing really well for me, right? It's a bit more specific in business. And then finally, coaching, discovery call. Discovery call is really like, to see if you might hire me, or we would hire each other or whatever. So there's 3 types of calls. But besides doing calls and like voice chats, all you can really do is just comment in threads as friends. But then eventually you may want to talk some more. And then maybe it's DMs. I actually prefer like collab calls over DMs because I don't know, you get to see what they look like. You hear the sound of their voice. I mean, I guess you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. But I think if you're building a Skool community, you probably should show your face, But yeah, I'll end this video with the daily Mayan horoscope. My friend Rainey is like really into the Mayan time codes. She kind of got me into it. There's the traditional Mayan astrology, and then there's a new age Mayan astrology. And so the new age one called the dream spell or the wave spell, that's the one that I follow. There's a guy named Jose Arguelles. But basically time has changed a little bit since, thousands of years ago, the Mayans, ancient Mayans, and I was wondering, I said, why did you change he just changed the number. Like they operate in 260-day cycles called a Zolkin. There's 20 zodiacs, and then there's 13 tones from 1 to 13. And so what's really interesting about the Mayan system is they believe that energy comes in on the tone 1 is the launch. I'm actually a tone 1, so I'm really good at helping people to launch. In fact, I'm just launching every single day. I'm constantly launching, That's what I'm blessed with. That's what I'm good at. I really help people launch a new thing. But I can also help them finish, you know. So I don't know. Don't limit yourself by like zodiacs and like, you know, horoscopes. But I'm a white magnetic mirror. Magnetic is tone 1, but we are in tone 10 right now. It's a 13-day wave spell. So it starts as 1, and then it divides into 2, and then it expands into 3, and then it stabilizes into 4, and then just every day it just adds 1 all the way up to 13 is like the cosmic day, transcendent day, and then it releases, and then it becomes 1 again. And then it's a new sign. So we are in the wave spell, I believe, of the yellow sun. Yellow sun is like an energetic code. So it's 13 days of expansion of the yellow sun, right? And then all 20 signs have the wave spell 13-day wave spells. So that's why you have the 260 days. And they believe it's the same 260-day cycle over and over and over again. So kind of repetitive, but if there's any truth to it, it's interesting because you know exactly what the energy of the day is. Today is red moon and it's day 10 of 13. So the energy kind of like maximizes on day 9 called solar day, which was yesterday. And yesterday was the solar star, yellow star. And yellow star is kind of like you as an artist and, you know, you kind of like shining your light, maybe an artist code, and then day 10 is red moon. So once the wave is launched on day 9, on day 10, it kind of like releases and then interfaces into the world. It's the way I look at it. Everybody's going to have their own opinion. There's a lot of bloggers that blog about the dream spell. Just type that in if you're curious. But I think day 10 is when it kind of catches into the world and into society. So what were we trying to manifest yesterday in the yellow star? What is the intention of this entire wave spell of the yellow sun? I like to kind of play this game because it gives you like a focus. So yellow sun is like bright, you know, energetic, you know, enlightenment. So it launches as a star, you know. Well, we're all on Skool, we're all making content, you know. So our business success, our career, our social media success, you know, it's all based on building community now. And so as a star, you know, I am an artist and I write poems, I write songs, I play instruments, you know, I like to dance and write and rap and sing, you know. That's something that's very different about me that not very many people on Skool, you know, just like share lyrics. Like I'll share lyrics that I write in Goosify, and sometimes my lyrics can be pretty dark or like intense, but it's darkness becoming light. It's a transmutational alchemical process. I'll tune into that really dark, intense energy, but it's there to transform into light. I have a lot of Scorpio energy in my astrology chart. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to title this video How to Build Relationships, you know, and then Mayan Astrology. Red moon to me is more like the zodiac sign Cancer. It feels, and that's what today is, it feels like a purification energy. I like to clean more on red moon days. Yeah, to me, it feels like a very therapeutic kind of an energy. So it's a Tuesday. It's not the most energetic code, but it doesn't need to be, you know. If God designed this universe and for whatever reason there are 20 codes, like I don't know, maybe not, but you know, just for fun, if there were, then it was obviously important enough to have one of the 20 days, you know. It's purifying, kind of cleansing, kind of healing kind of energy. So the star launches into society, and then, you know, a lot of people think stardom is about being cool, but I think stardom is about, you know, healing others, honestly, and connecting in music, you know. Like, I think it's less about being really cool and popular and more about, you know, healing the world and, you know, yeah, I don't know. So just trying to draw like a web between star and moon. So as we launch our intention of this wave, for me, that's getting more followers and getting more, members. Like, it's kind of like we connect to each other as human beings, sometimes on the cute stuff or the silly stuff or the art or like sharing inspiration, more than it's just like your actual business, which is like, yes, I can teach business coaching and I'm very energetic and motivated. And I've made, quite a bit of money in many different businesses. But the top of the funnel in a community is if we were all at a big bonfire, cookout or barbecue or, hangout, you know, we would kind of walk up to each other and we would just chat. And so, like, what do we connect on? So I like to say that inspiration is so much more important than like motivation or even business or money. You know, we connect on the things that inspire us and then the things that we love to talk about and then the things that we share in common with others, but then the things that we're different about that are very interesting, you know? Sometimes opposites attract, and sometimes, we attract things that we're familiar with. Well, I also like this stuff. Well, I also think that's interesting. Well, I also like to talk about this stuff, like astrology, human design, Mayan time codes, but I also like to talk about motivation, personal development, success mindset, fitness, I like to talk about all this stuff. I like to talk about anything that is interesting and anything that improves us. I like to improve, I like to talk about the chakras because it gives us a way to improve. We want every single one of our chakras to be, balanced and then, highly functional. So, anyways, on a moon day, it's more chill, I think. Like, I think today we can use that energy, try to connect with people on a more human level and maybe even on a more creative level or emotional level, right? I would say the moon day is enhanced emotion. So we try to connect with each other emotionally. That may be helpful. I'd love to know what you're working on today. Yeah, welcome all the new people in my group. It's growing pretty fast. I'm not going to lie. We're going to have 50 people in hopefully by the end of today. And I haven't even really been building that hard on Skool until like 3 weeks ago. But I am putting in full-time effort. I'm building this 100% as a third business. I have the means to do it, so I'm on here like all day long. Um, Oftentimes I'm driving energy and just focus into the group. But then as new people keep joining and then certain people, become more active, like I feel like the energy kind of changes and then I'm kind of balancing out the new energy. So 3 new women joined and then posted. And so it's a little bit different for all of them. One of them is like a transformation coach, and then 2 of them, they both said just like feeling safe and like feeling supported, so everybody has different needs. We connect emotionally. It's a safe space. I'm not a mean guy. I'm a pretty nice guy. I talk about motivation and business, and sometimes, like in my masculine energy, I can be a little bit of a troll. I can be a little bit. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like to start shit. I'm a shit starter. I have a lot of fire signs. My moon sign is Aries. My Mercury's Aries. My rising sign is Sag. So I do have a bit of fire energy, but you know, um, I like to just have fun. Like sometimes I challenge people because I challenge them to a higher standard. I challenge them to be the very best. It's never to be mean. It's never to put anybody down. It's because it's like, I know you can do better and I'll challenge you to your very best. Some people, though, if they're more sensitive, my cat Luna is like super shy. Like, this is one of the most shy, nervous cats you've ever seen. She needs a lot of like gentle support and she'll get very overwhelmed. She probably has what you would call autism or neurodivergence. My cat. She's very shy, slightly awkward. She was like really young when I got her. She was only like 8 weeks old. She was tiny, like almost could fit in my hand, tiny, like just able to start eating like wet food. So she didn't have enough time to like socialize with her siblings. They were abandoned and put into a shelter as like really young babies. So that's really stressful and overwhelming. So yeah, I mean that probably did have an effect on her personality. So she needs a lot of gentle support. She's very, likes to do things her own way, does not really like to be picked up. This one, hey, this one is the social butterfly. She just prance straight up to you and jump in your lap. Huh? You think it's monkey time? I don't know. It's not monkey time, is it? Huh? This one loves attention. This one loves attention. All right, guys. Anyways, hope you have a productive day. So maybe it's more of an emotional day today, maybe more of a healing kind of vibe, Zen kind of vibe. We can still be productive, but perhaps we will be connecting more on like values, family, art, emotions, you know. I think that would be a good strategy for today. Um, I'm getting way better at figuring out like who my people are and I don't know. It's like vibrations, right? Like there's many different vibrations emotionally, like vibrations. Higher vibration people are usually into like consciousness and like healing and like inspiration, yes, also business, but there's like a higher vibrational way of building on Skool. And it's about treating someone like an actual human being before we treat them like a judgment or like a number. And since I've been through so many school groups, and sometimes there are good people out there, but they're just not like posting enough. They're not putting enough into the group. Like the group is going to become, you put like your soul into the group. Like you put like your spiritual energy into the group. And it begins to like come alive. It begins to have its own energy. And then other people will begin to put a little bit of their personality into the group. And it becomes like this living thing. I believe that a community really is like a living energy, you know. Um, so I want my living energy to be honestly like inspiration, connection, like optimism and hope and confidence, and then yes, success. But it just takes a little while. You bring people into your group, they get to know you, maybe eventually start chatting, and then maybe eventually they become customers. So it's a slower sales cycle than if you're just gonna go like cold or like comment on posts and then really try to get them into DMs. Like you can do that and like salespeople do that, but I find that it's better to just make content that people would engage with. Like, I don't think you ever need to go cold. No, I don't, I just don't think that's the best strategy. I think it's more fun. You make content. If they like and comment, like on your Instagram or Facebook, then it would probably be okay to DM them. They still might be a little bit like guarded, but if they're liking and commenting, especially if it's like related to your business, I think it's probably okay to DM them. You know, you don't have to, but if you want to move faster, so it's better to make content that people engage with, show interest with, and then you just start building conversations in threads, which is just a comment conversation is called a thread. Back and forth, 5 to 10 times. Maybe you follow them, 5 to 10 times, and then like you gotta lead the conversation. You gotta learn how to lead the conversation along. Chatting in DMs. Oh yeah, I joined your group, or that seems really cool. What led you to do that? You want to keep the conversation going. It is a skill of being able to keep conversations going. And then the conversation manifests into a result. A new follow, a new friend, a new connection. Maybe you join their group. Maybe they join your group. Maybe you join each other's groups. And then that's it. And then, right, they're in your group. And then they get to know you. Maybe they watch your videos. Um, They start meeting other people in the group. They're sharing with each other now. That's what you really want. You really want a lot of people in your group talking to each other. That's a real sign of success. Even in a lot of these guys that are making money like rockets, people are still not really connecting with each other. They're only really connecting with the guru. And I think that's really, you're missing out. Like, you want people to be connecting with each other and making friends with each other and getting to know each other and supporting each other. All right, that's my video for today. Monkey. See you later.